Hello, my spectacles to desire is but the ghoul next door. Your favorite ghoul fiend. Hello, Miss Beckons and Desires, but the ghoul next door. Your favorite ghoul fiend. And this would be episode 4 of my Halloween 2026. And today I'm talking about the zombie movie Stalled. I think it's a 2014 British. I think it's 2014. Okay, so our lead character, he's a janitor in this office building, and it's Christmas Eve, and there's a party happening in the building, and he goes into the women's building, or into the women's bathroom, I should say, to clean it, and he kind of gets stuck in there. At first, it's just a couple of women come in, and he's kind of just embarrassed, and he hides in the stall. But after a couple of minutes, we learn that one of the women has been bitten by someone, and she turns into a zombie. She attacks the other woman that's with her, bites her, kills her. Then she turns, realizing that he's in one of the stalls, and tries to get at him, crawls underneath and tries to get at him, and he fights her off. He fights her off by climbing on top of the toilet tank and hitting her many times with the toilet lid itself, and kind of gets her face right into the toilet. Then a few more zombies start coming into the bathroom before he can get out of there. He's left his toolbox over on the bathroom sink, so he doesn't even have any weapons or anything. And after a couple hours, he hears someone crying, and he realizes that a couple stalls over, there's a woman who, I guess, she came into the bathroom a minute or two before the other women did, like after he did, but before the first two women did. So she's been in there the whole time, totally scared. And they start talking, trying to plan their escape, and he asks her who she is, and she tells him I think she calls herself Evie, and he thinks she's this girl that he's got a crush on. And he draws a picture. Where he gets a pen, a marker, I don't know, but he suddenly has something to draw with, and he draws this picture of what he thinks she is on the bathroom stall. So this horde of zombies is trying to get at them, and they try a couple times to get themselves out. At one point, he has a sign that says no smoking that he had taken off of the wall because it was falling down. And he's got one screwdriver. He uses the one screwdriver that was in his back pocket. It's the only tool he has. Instead of using it as a tool, he uses it, takes the sign and screws the sign into the bottom of the toilet stall so that it's blocked right to the floor, which that's very smart, actually. And in the process of doing that, he cuts off a zombie's fingers with the sign. It's a metal sign that says no smoking. So then he's got this handful of zombie fingers, and one of the women who had come in at the very beginning had taken her bra off and thrown it. So he had her bra, and he uses it as a slingshot, trying to hit the fire alarm to get it to go off. What he figures that'll do, I don't know. That fails. And one of the zombies brings his ladder over to how the zombie is smart enough to do that, I don't know. Brings the ladder over to one of the stalls, trying to get at the girl because he can hear her crying and talking. So our lead character, standing on top of the toilet seat, manages to grab the ladder, kind of gets it over to where he is, positions himself, gets the ladder up and over across the entire zombie crowd, and hooks it on top of the bathroom sink and tries to climb over. He only gets about halfway, and then he falls back into the stall onto the floor. The girl in the far stall, she asks him if he's okay, and then she throws a couple of pills at him, and he takes them thinking that they're pain pills, but they're LSD. So he trips out completely, and when he finally comes down from that, he figures out a way to get his oh yes, he used the ladder to get to his toolkit over on the sink. So he's got his toolkit broken on the floor there beside him, and he finds his hammer, and he figures out that the wall behind the toilets lead to the crawl space between floors. So he uses his hammer and he gets through on his side of the toilet, and he crawls, no pun intended, through the crawl space a couple of feet to where the woman's stall is, to who he thinks is this woman, Evie. I think that's what her name was. It was either Evie or Evelyn. I think it was Evie. And because they only use the names like 2 or 3 times through the whole thing. And he uses the hammer to crash through the back of the stall to get to her, and she's not who he thinks she is. She's the resident fat girl that everyone has been mocking and making fun of. And when he realizes this, she says that even though the circumstances were zombie apocalypse, not the word she used, but that's what she means, she had a really good night. And then she opens her stall door and she walks into the zombie horde, and she just kind of commits suicide. So he crawls back out the door, or back through the crawl space, back into his stall, kind of waiting for a chance to run. And he remembers something she said about being an undercover mama's boy. So he takes that literally, and he wraps himself up as a mummy with all the toilet paper he can find, and just barrels through the zombie horde and makes it outside to the elevator. And when he's at the elevator, he meets the real Evie, and she's already been bit. So he leaves her and makes his way outside of the building. A full 24 hours has gone by. It's Christmas Day, and he finds a phone. He gets to the phone to make sure his mom is okay. And then we end with a horde of zombies around the phone booth, and he goes, "I really need a toilet." And that's where it ends. This movie, it was the most original zombie movie, monster movie, creature movie I think I have ever seen. The concept is outrageous, and it works. It works on so many levels. The only 2 people, pretty much, except for the first minute and a half, where the first 2 women who enter the bathroom are gossiping. Other than that, it's the only 2 people who have any lines are himself and the other woman in the stall, who he talks to through this whole thing. And then at the very, very end, when he meets the other girl at the elevator, she's got like 2 or 3 lines, but she's a very nasty person, so he's quite fine that she's been bit. And you're left like it's a comedy, it's a zombie comedy, but there's plenty of gore, the fingers being chopped off, the woman's head being smushed in the toilet. She gets a screwdriver through the throat. There's one scene where when he's throwing the using the bra to slingshot the fingers, one ends up in this guy's he ends up in his mouth, and another zombie like bites his throat, and the finger is just the finger is sitting there protruding out, and he's got to get it. The gore is there, the comedy is there, and it's a little sad too. It's kind of, you're really hoping, cheering for these two to get together, and they don't, because everything she's told him is a lie. Here he is, he's been pouring his heart out to her all night, and she's been lying to him the whole time. But the fact that she sacrifices herself for him, you really feel sorry for the lead character. He doesn't deserve what he gets. There is a scene, I guess in the third act, there's this one scene where we find out everything he's done in the last week leading up to, I guess it's a week, leading up to the Christmas party anyway. And we find out that he was fired, that he stole something, and he's kind of being played up as a bad guy for a good chunk of the movie. And you're kind of thinking, oh, okay, this is his comeuppance. But at the end, the fact that he was willing to sacrifice himself for someone he's never met, but then she sacrifices herself instead. So his character, like, you do feel for his character. And the very end, the way it's set up, it's quite obvious that he doesn't make it out, but they also set it up, the ending, that there might be, who knows, there could be a sequel. A sequel would be interesting. I'd like to see how he survived getting out of that telephone booth, because this is a British movie, and those are those old-fashioned telephone booths that are totally closed in, not the kind that we used to have here in Canada. The kind that, the kind we used to have used to be like yay big by yay big. But so yeah, it's kind of a short one. What do I think of it? What did I learn anything? No. Don't judge a book by its cover. That's about it. It was a good movie. Do I recommend it? Yeah, if you can find it. I found it randomly on Fossum, I think it's called. It was listed as a new movie, but I'm pretty sure it had a 2014 year under it. It was a cute movie. It was a short movie. It was only an hour and a half. I like hour and a half. I find anything over hour and a half in the last couple of years is too long. Don't have the patience for it. I keep coming back to the fact that it was really gory. Usually, no, I can't say that. I was gonna say usually a vampire comedy. Sorry, a zombie comedy. Usually a zombie comedy does get pretty gory, though, because they overdo it. They don't take the gore seriously. They get very cartoonish with it, and This straddles the line pretty good. It doesn't take itself serious. It's obviously a comedy. It does not take itself seriously at all. So the gore is there, and the gore is upped. I wouldn't say. What can I compare it to? The way, I know it was a vampire movie, but the way Renfield made the gore so comical. It's not quite to that level, but it doesn't take itself as serious as something like Dawn of the Dead or anything. I don't even think this one takes itself as serious as Shaun of the Dead. I got a review of Shaun of the Dead on my channel from about a decade ago. You should go check that out. I did a comic relief style recipe inspired by that one too. You should check that out. But anyway, yes, so Stalled, it was a really surprisingly good zombie comedy. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. But it kind of feels like a play. It kind of feels like a stage play, simply because it is an isolation movie. We are stuck in a bathroom through the whole movie until literally the last 3 minutes. It starts with him in the bathroom and it ends with him getting out of the building. And there's only about the last 3 minutes of the film where he manages to escape the bathroom. So it really is, it's an isolation movie, it's a zombie movie, it's a comedy, it's a horror, a little bit of a romance. Yeah. Do I have anything else to say about this? I'm sure there's some really deep, wonderful meaning to this that I'm just not bothering to think of. Like I said, other than don't judge a book by its cover. That really seems to be the moral of this story. So, okay. I will see you next week with the next episode. Until then, creeping screams. Oh, this was a bingo card. This was a bingo card. The bingo card was watch a zombie movie. Okay. Creeping screams.